Hey, what is going on, everybody? This is Chris Williams back with another episode. And in today's conversation, what I'd like to do is for Massive Action Monday, I actually want to talk to you about the road to achievement. I want to talk to you about the highway of success. I want to talk to you about a principle of some things that I've been learning and really give you an understanding of like what I know to be true for me right now, some challenges that I'm facing, but also I think it'll help you be able to kind of navigate where you are when it comes to building your side business. And I want to talk about like um, when you're on the highway to success. Um, Here's the question I have for you: what exit did you get off at? Because I would say that for many of us, we can feel it. We have the yearning. We have this big desire. We know that we're successfully discontent, and we realize that there's something more than just me doing my day job. But you got moving. You got your LLC. You were rocking and rolling. You told your spouse, and you're like, yes, I'm doing this thing because I really want to build this business. And then for some reason you got off too early. And I want us to think about like being on the highway. And this came to me one day because we were flying back home and we were flying over a highway. And as we were getting ready to land, I just noticed the cars were getting off. And I just thought about, man, how interesting is it that, you know, on the highway of success, if you will, you're in the car of your dreams, right? Your car is the dreams that you believe you're supposed to fulfill in life. And there are things that you want. There's a way that you want to live, a lifestyle that you want to serve. Um, you know, you want to be able to live to have the option to tell your kids no, not have to tell them no, right? You want to go where you want to be able to and not have to wonder monetarily, is this going to set me back, a few months? Or even if you could, you just don't want to have to make it a thing. And some of us, depending on how we are emotionally when it comes to money, money can be a stressful conversation in a marriage because for many of us, there's a way we grew up thinking about money. There's a way we value money today, and for spouses, sometimes that might be two different things, and those can be opposing forces. And so sometimes we don't even know how to talk about money, right? Like we don't even know how to like have the conversation or even want to share out loud. I just got through doing a training for one of our teams in our health and wellness business. And, one of the things that I talked about is like, listen, sometimes when you hear big numbers, right, or you hear somebody say, hey, here's what you can make. We were talking to the team about making $100,000 a year, and, it's $8,300 a month. And some people will literally short circuit when they hear that, right? They're like, there's no way I can have a side business making just as much money as I make in my day job. It's like, yes, you can. But here's what happens. Most of us, we stop hoping. And so what we do is we'll dismiss every single thing that will try to cause us to hope instead of holding on to that to take those steps of faith. So anyway, here's the way I want to look at it, and hopefully that makes sense to you. But I wanted to give you this episode for Massive Action Monday just so that way you had it and you could leverage it. So I did this conversation probably about 5 years ago, and I wanted to bring it back up again because it still rings true for me all the time. So to me, there's basically like, if you're on a highway, right, the highway of success, to me, there are four big exits that we get off on, and we're getting off too early when our dreams were just a little further down the road. Okay. And I want to walk through those. The first exit that I think we get off on is disappointment, right? So we get disappointed. We tried it, didn't work. And we're upset, and unfortunately, it didn't work out for us, right? And so disappointment, the definition of it is sadness or displeasure caused by the non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. The sadness or displeasure caused by the non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. And the reason why this is like the first exit I think we get off on the highway of success to achieving and realizing our full dreams is because disappointment is basically an appointment that we've allowed to, you always say sometimes moments become monuments and they got to stop. You thought your family and friends were going to buy from you, and they didn't. So the first thing you thought was, this must not be for me, right? You got ready to launch your business, and maybe it was even closer than that. Maybe it was your spouse didn't even support you building this business. And you chose, well, maybe this isn't for me. And so you're disappointed because something as you were launching, and here's the thing, I learned this from my coach, shout out to Myron Golden, because he says this to us all the time. He says that, hey, listen, disruption will always follow intention. You know, you set out, you were ready to rock and roll. You were going to do the things that you need to do in order to be able to build your business. And then guess what happened? Unexpected bill popped up. And then you're like, well, maybe this is a sign that I shouldn't, right, do something. But secretly and quietly, when you go to bed at night, when you wake up in the morning, and when all you do is go to work and work all kind of hours, drive home, drive an hour and a half to work, drive an hour and a half home, wasted 3.5 hours doing that. You come home, you do the same routine, grab the kids, get something to eat, go to bed, watch entertainment. Like, you're doing that over and over and over again. And some of us have become so numb, we don't even recognize the routine. But we're secretly and silently also disappointed because we know that there's something else we should be doing. And this can't be it. But some of us have turned our brain off so that we don't have to feel that pain of disappointment. And I think when we get off too early on the highway success of disappointment, it robs us of the fulfillment. Remember, the definition said the non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. So I'm going to ask you this week, dust off that expectation and that hope you had. And here's what I'm going to ask you to do as a result. When you go look at whatever it is that you expected to happen, like you expected to make, 5 or 10 sales of your product or service, right? Instead of getting disappointed with who didn't, why don't you start to make sure that you find out who actually would buy your product or service? Too many times I see where, and I've done it too, we start a side business in our own head with our own ideas and all this other stuff, but we never found the actual customer. And one of the greatest things I ever heard one time is that, hey, listen, first go find the customer and then build the thing that they will actually spend money for. Instead of building the product and then thinking everybody's just going to come buy it, because that's not how it works in the marketplace. And many of us who are still holding on to our corporate identity struggle with this idea of saying, you know what? I got to go find the customer first. So go find the customer first and then build the product or service. And that's one of the biggest keys I can give you around this, so that you don't get off too early on the exit of highway of achievement. So that's the first one. So some of us got off too early. And, depending on what exit you got off at, some of us got off on disappointment. Let me know down in the comments if you got off too early at the exit of disappointment. Here's the second exit that people get off too early on the highway of success: rejection, right? So we get rejected, and the thing that hurts us about rejection the most is typically it's because somebody close to us did it. The spouse said, that's crazy. I don't know why you would do that, why you would spend your money with that. We got other things we could put our money towards. You got friends and family who all thought you were crazy because you got the house, the car, the spouse, the white picket fence. But why would you go spend your money and do a business? Why won't you, stick with the job that you got? All this other stuff, right? Like, rejection is one of those things that I would say is not necessarily about you, but it's you still holding on to the other person's opinion. So that's why you feel like it's a form of rejection. Rejection is defined as the dismissing or refusing of a proposal, idea, etc. Here's the interesting thing about that. Just because they rejected it doesn't mean you have to. That's the big thing I want us to understand today. Like, you don't have to reject your idea. Just because those around you rejected the idea, why would you let them have so much influence over you in that regard that you won't even try? So you get off too early. You're on the highway of success. You could see it. It makes you feel alive when you talk about it, when you were writing about it, when you were discussing all these other things. But the moment you put it in front of the people who influence your life the most, we fall apart. And it's not that you rejected the idea. The people that influence you the most couldn't see it or had questions or rejected it for themselves. So you took on their form of rejection. And that causes us to get off too early on the highway of success. And I want us this week to think about, like, write down the people whose opinion in your life you value the most. Just write them down. Don't rank them. Don't do it. Just write their names down. And I want you to have an honest conversation with yourself. Is the opinion that they have worth me not fulfilling things that I believe I should be trying, experiencing, and living in life? I'm gonna tell you something. When I married my wife, there's one thing I realized really quickly. When my wife wants to do something, not even I can talk her out of it. And I'm the husband. I'm the guy who, yes, does she listen to me? Absolutely. Does not mean that she doesn't listen to me. My point is, though, I can tell when my wife has made a decision about something that not even what I say will stop her from going forward. And I respect the heck out of that. But I can see it, though. Like, I can tell, like, if it's something that she wishy-washy on, okay, we'll have that conversation. But I can tell when my wife has, this week we were talking about, we were at the ClickFunnels Funnel Hacking Live. Shout out to those of you who were there. It was a great time. But they were talking about having definite a purpose. Napoleon Hill talks about that all the time in all of his writings, right? Like, I can tell when my wife brings me something, it's a definite a purpose for her. And all she's trying to do is invite me in. So I want you to write down the people who have the most influence in your life. And by the way, I hope that list is short. If it's pretty long, you need to shorten that list up, because they shouldn't have all that influence in your life, because their opinions now are literally they're how you're living your life. You're not living your life for you, right? But write it down and just ask yourself the question, like, how much influence should I allow them to have on my highway of success, of achieving my dreams, right? That's number 2. Number 3, self-sabotage. This exit right here is one of those exits that I think some of us don't realize we are doing, and we don't understand that self-sabotage is real. And it's pretty interesting. So self-sabotage is when people do or don't do things that block their success or prevent them from accomplishing their goals. It can happen consciously or unconsciously. Self-sabotaging behaviors can affect our personal and professional success, as well as our mental health. How is it that it's possible that on the highway of success we can self-sabotage? Not your spouse, not your kids, not your mom, not your dad, not your uncle, not your grandma, not the people around you. No. How is it that you internally are doing it? I'm going to give you some examples of how this plays out. So it's easy to self-sabotage because I mentioned to you earlier, some of us have been living in this comfort routine for so long that the moment somebody tries to implant a seed of hope in our lives, you know what we do? The first thing that we do is we automatically attack the seed. Oh, that can't be real. Oh, that's good for you. Oh yeah, that sounds great for you, but no, that wouldn't be me. Must be nice to be able to do that. Like, we have all of these self-sabotaging things that we say the moment we see an inkling of something that could be hopeful. Somebody presents a business opportunity for you, you automatically dismiss it. Oh, those don't work. Oh, that never has worked for me. Oh yeah, I tried that before, right? If Einstein had said, yeah, I tried a light bulb before, it didn't work, well, he wouldn't have tried it 10,000 times. Are you willing to try something 10,000 times to see if it'll actually work? I don't know. But I do think it's important that we start asking ourselves, what is the mental conversation I'm having with myself? So here's what I want you to do for this one. For self-sabotage, what I'd like for you to do, every time you're presented with a business opportunity, every time you're presented with a new idea, every time you hear an opinion that is different than yours, anytime that you hear something positive, take note of the very first thing that comes to mind. What's the first thing that you think? Not even the thing that you say out loud. That's something different. Most of us talk out loud with a filter. I'm saying, what's the first thing you think? Do you think that's for you? Or do you say, nah, that doesn't work. Good luck to you. But, right? Do you put a but before everything? Right? Like, I want you to be honest with yourself. What am I saying to myself? And here's what I want you to do. Replace it with the very opposite. So if I say, you know what, oh, those are great, but yeah, that has never worked for me. I tried that before. Start to say, you know what, I haven't tried it all the ways. So I'm willing to listen to you because I tried it before, but that doesn't mean that I have found the thing that works. I'm open. So write the opposite so that you can start to explore those moments, okay? That's the third exit people get off. Here's the last exit that people that get off. The emotional exit. So you're on your highway of success, in the car of achievement of your dreams. You're strapped in, and you let your emotions take over the wheel. And we get off too early. Here's something that I'm learning from talking to a lot of business people. They become so measured and almost like creepy docile, not in a bad way, but it's kind of like, man, like they don't even seem to like have any emotion about making the $20 million they just made, or man, they seem to be very kind of like nonchalant about that $50,000 deal they did. Is because one of the things they are not allowing themselves to do is allow the emotions to determine their next move. Oh, wow, he lost $100,000. Oh my God, he must be distraught. Yeah, you feel it, but I'm not going to allow my emotions to determine my next move. And I think for many of us, we're in the car of achievement. And what I always say is you've got fear, hope, and doubt and insecurity all in the car with you. The unfortunate part is many of us are not driving. Fear, doubt, and emotion are all screaming and pulling at the wheel, got you going and zigzagging all over the place while you're strapped in the back seat in the child seat in a straitjacket. And I think one of the things that is most important for us to do is to take control of these emotions. I'm not saying we're not human, and you should be happy when you're supposed to be happy. And you should feel the pain when the pain, like we lost hundreds of thousands of dollars on a motel deal. I was sick about it. I was very upset. But I learned a really good lesson. If I let my emotions determine my next move, I will never invest again, because I will let a moment turn into a monument, and I will worship that monument for the rest of my life and remain broke. So I want us to think about, like, what is your emotional state around money? What is your emotional state when it comes to when something didn't go right? What is your emotional state when you lose money? What is your emotional state when you get some? What is your emotional state when things start working? What is your emotional state when something doesn't go right? What is your emotional state when somebody literally tells you that's crazy, don't do it? Look at all the people who've done wrong. What is your emotional state? And I need you to start gaining control of your emotions. Do not let your emotions take advantage and control of you. Because if we allow that to happen, and if we allow ourselves to be controlled by those emotions, we're crashing and burning, and we're never getting where we ultimately want to be. Okay? So just to recap, you're on the highway achievement of success, and I believe you're going to get there. I really, truly do believe we can all be there, right? We're building our side business. But some of us are getting off too early. We're either getting off too early with disappointment, at the exit of disappointment, at the exit of rejection, at the exit of self-sabotage, at the exit of our emotions. And if we just go a little beyond those four, you will have reached your destination. Hey, listen, this has been Massive Action Monday. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure you give us a like, share, comment. Leave us a review. Man, I'm telling you, those reviews are everything. It allows other people to find our show just like you did. More importantly, it allows our show to continue to climb up the ranks so that we can continue to add more value. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you take this day and go take serious, massive action so that you don't get off the highway of success too early based on one of these four. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. I look forward to seeing what you create in your world as a high achiever. Take care, everybody.